Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I did like a weird voting poll, basically putting up I got a bunch of videos ideas. So I was like, hey, what would you guys like to see first? So a lot of people voted for taking a look at the good old Marvel Legends collection. So I thought, yeah, sure. So let's go over the pretty huge and extensive collection I have here. Mind you, I got so much, like a lot of Marvel Legends. This video might be a little longer than my Ninja Turtle tour, my video. I'm pretty sure that was the last video I did, pretty much just kind of going over the figures and like all the ones I got so far. So without further ado, let's take a look. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the Marvel Legends collection as yeah, I might have knocked into them again. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, so let's take a look. So one thing I want to clear up real quick, just like with my Ninja Turtles collection, I set up my figures in a very specific order. So as you can see, this is where I keep all my Thors, I keep all the Iron Mans together, Fantastic Fours. You get the gist. So that's kind of how I do it. You can see a little bit from my Turtles collection. I did a video on this last time. So yeah, I mean, you could kind of see. I mean, some things also changed too with the Masterverse collection. So you even got Keldor all the way up on top for some reason. Anyway, so let's start at the bottom with Thor. Actually, one quick thing I would have to mention, obviously there's still some touch-ups here and there. I mean, you might notice maybe some figures kind of stumbling in the back a little bit, because these shelves are being held up by brackets. So unfortunately, when I got the wood, it doesn't really fill up the gap all the way. So what I mean by that is there's a little bit of this spacing. So because of that, my characters, they do not my characters, you get the idea. My action figures, they tend to kind of fall and hit the wall a little bit. It's been something I've been kind of deciding as to what to really do with that. I mean, it's good so that way with characters, if they got long capes, at least it could kind of fit in between those gaps. But obviously it does cause a bit of an issue. So if you see some of the figures kind of leaning back there, just don't mind that. I know it's a little bit messy. So of course in the front we got Ragnarok Thor, and then we got this one Thor that came with the Destroyer 2-pack. I mean, I love this, honestly. What I like about it though is that he got like the beard and all that. He did had the alternate head with the helmet on, but it was hard to really say for sure which one I liked. They both share the same body mold, but with some differences, obviously. Surprisingly, this figure actually used to fall a lot. I'm surprised he's even standing. He's been like that for a long time. I don't know if it's because Legion's foot is holding onto his hammer. I mean, that's kind of unintended, but I highly doubt it, because that's kind of a heavy weapon he got there. At the back though, there is the Thor from the Dark World, and then the one from Thor Love and Thunder. Of course, got the cast right here in the back. We got Thor. I mean, movie wasn't entirely received well, and admittedly, it's not my favorite interpretation of the character either. Oh, and then of course we also got, this is honestly like my favorite Thor figure out of all of them, honestly. I just love the design of this. This one I like a lot too, but this, oh my god, I hated this so much, his axe weapon. For some reason, it's made of this very weird, like, rubbery material, the weapon. So it's like, it warps, it stumbles a little bit, just kind of, yeah. So yeah, sorry about that. Then of course we go along, of course, with Loki from the show Loki. I mean, come on, he has to be here. I mean, look at that, look how nice this looks. We got some classic, and then we got the other classic variants. Obviously, we can't forget about Mighty Thor, obviously. And then of course, what I always try to do, I go by first appearances. That's how I set up the collection, because obviously we got Grey Gargoyle back there. I know for most Marvel fans, he's considered either an Iron Man villain or a Captain America villain. But what's ironic is that he actually first appeared in a Thor comic. So it's like, okay, I don't know what to do. Which one do I put him in? So of course, as we kind of move along a little bit, because I don't really have too many Thor characters, obviously. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention Firelord, because I know when they made him, the package said Fantastic Four, but that figure is supposed to be based off of his old toy back from the Toy Biz era. But he did appear in a Thor comic too, so I was like, okay, which one do I put him in? You know what I mean? So remember, I'm kind of going by that order. So then of course we got the Iron Mans. I mean, I love it, it's a love-hate relationship with these, honestly. As much as I love the character, I want more Iron Mans with more varieties. Meaning they've done so many versions of him where they kind of look the same. Obviously Mark 1 or Module 1, whatever it was called, great figure. I mean, Ironmonger is fantastic, obviously, with all the detailing on all that. We even got some of the weirder villains like Controller from bootleg Thanos, because let's be honest here, that's literally what he was designed after. Because you look at him from far away, he looks like Thanos, but just painted blue. Even though he's not. I mean, they're two different characters, but you get the idea. But back to what I was saying, I mean, I always try to put the more unique figures up in the front. I mean, obviously, these aren't really, like, too unique. I mean, you got one that's zombified, and you got this one. But, of course, War Machine kicks ass. I love this one a lot. This one's based off of the retro-carded wave, kinda. I say kinda because they made that figure, and then it wasn't until, like, a while later this year that they made more retro-carded versions. And then, of course, you got MODOK. I mean, like, impressive, am I right? I mean, I love how big he looks. He looks so nice. Why would you want to put him in the front? He looks great. And, of course, we got some AIM agents. Just because. And then, of course, you got Ultron. And, yeah, I had to put the White Vision back there. I mean, besides Hawkeye, I don't really have any of, like, the West Coast Avengers. So, obviously, Vision, he's kind of that exception that I put him there, even though I don't really want to put him in the back, because I actually like that figure despite having a very generic body to it. It's primarily not considered a great figure, basically. It's a lot of people don't really like it so much. Same goes for that Ultron right here. I mean, this is a reissue technically, but with a new head. This came out during the, I think it was, the Cassandra wave, based off of the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumanium film. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, I'm stuck somewhere between liking this version of Ultron and then this one. I'm not exactly sure which one I like the most. But they're there because technically, he's an Iron Man villain, so there you go. Now we move to the more complicated one, which is the Fantastic Four. Oh man, I mean, first I gotta say for sure, in case you're confused, this is of course a thing based off of the Ronin wave that came out back in like 2007 or 2008. So this was like right around the time Hasbro obtained the rights to make Marvel Legends. So this was of course some of their, it's not the first figure, but it's like one of the first basically. So that's why he looks very different compared to the thing from the retro carded waves. That's also why Mr. Fantastic is not looking fantastic. I mean, I'm sorry, he looks like shit. I mean, he's like bare bone skinny. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to make like a controversial statement, but like, this man needs to eat. I mean, he's lucky enough that he's even holding that fist attachment. Oh my goodness, I don't know, but luckily it ain't too bad because at least I got this version. And this one I didn't really like so much. I liked it, obviously I like it because he got like the lab coat and stuff, so it adds to the variety. But I really hate why they gave him these weird stretchy fingers. Ew. Hasbro, make another Mr. Fantastic with long arms. This is garbage. But you know what? At least we got Howard the Duck, so it's all good, right? I'm just joking. I remember this was another controversial figure too, but because you were pretty much only getting him, a Build-A-Figure piece, and the accessory being Ant-Man's head. Oh boy. But of course I put him here because there was some extra space. I mean, I have to put something there. I don't got their little robot helper, which I don't remember their name, but you get the idea. And of course, I didn't really know where to exactly to put him. I was thinking maybe putting him with the Guardians of the Galaxies, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, we'll see. Will Hasbro ever make another Howard the Duck figure? Who knows? So, let's move on. You'll also notice that I got Namor, as well as, oh my god, I forgot his name. He's from Wakanda Forever. The reason why they're down here, it's because, oh wait, Atuma. Yeah, that's his name. Okay. So the reason why they're down here, it's because, like I said, even though Namor had his own comic when Marvel first started their business, like back in the 40s or so, or 50s, basically, that with Namor, he had a pretty huge affiliation with the Fantastic Four and, of course, Black Panther at one point. So it kind of made sense that I kind of put him down here. So Yeah, I know it looks really weird. I need more Fantastic Four figures, honestly, because this, I don't know what it is. It doesn't really cut it, especially that, Invincible woman. I don't know what her deal is. Like I mean, they're okay, but the bad guys on the other hand, that Super Scroll, and that Secret Wars Doctor Doom. Oh man, looks cool, but boy, I could really go for a normal Doctor Doom though. No offense. And then of course you also got the Watcher. That's the one based off of the the What If series. I don't like to put him back there, but he's like really tall, like stupid tall. But you know what? I don't mind that. I like big figures, so that's okay. Of course we got Hulks. You need some Hulks. Like come on now. I love Hulk so much, man. Like come on. I hate that I have to cram them like down here, because I don't know, it's kind of uncomfortable the way they sort of look, especially this one, especially the Weird Joe Fix-It one. That's the one from that one Wolverine comic. It looks so cool. I hate putting these guys in the back, honestly, but my motto is that I put the bigger figures more in the back. But the thing is, I don't want to do that to good old Hulk. So obviously, the only other characters I have really is She-Hulk, based off of the not so good She-Hulk series. And then of course we got Bruce Banner. Alright, fun. I like him though, but don't get me wrong, but we do need more Hulks though. Honestly, I remember when they did their I forgot what was it called, the Fin Fang Foom wave. That was such a popular wave, and those figures are extremely expensive now, like ridiculously though. So then of course we move on to the man, the legend, Logan, the Wolverine. Because yep, as you'll notice, this entire shelf is almost made up of nothing but just Marvel Legends, X-Men. Like, it's stupid crazy though, because then pretty much after that it's all Captain America. These are all like Captain Americas basically. You got your hype soldier, you got and I know there's Armadillo, which I'll get into that in a bit. Let's talk about X-Men now. So of course, Wolverine being one of my top favorites, it's like, why wouldn't I want to have a whole bunch of them? Now, I did bought him very recently. I didn't film it because I bought him in the mall, and you all know how that goes. Pitch up that loud music, you can't really hear me too well, and obviously I don't want to get copyrighted. I know it's weird. So obviously it was kind of a last minute thing, trying to fix up the shelf. So obviously they all look a little bit uncomfortable next to each other. So this will change at some point. I just don't know when. But they do look really nice though. I love how these are set up. And then of course you just got good old Legion here. Just sitting there. He's just trying to enjoy life. He's just sitting there. His feet hanging out. He's like, well, it's all good. Yeah, I'm sad that my dad's dead, but it's all right. Yeah, because basically he's from the universe where Apocalypse basically took over and Professor Xavier's dead, so now all the X-Men are pretty much everywhere. That also explains obviously the weird Cyclops. This is considered one of the worst figures. It's not bad, but like, he comes with barely anything. You would think he would come with like a laser beam or something, but he doesn't. Unfortunate. But hey, at least we got Jean Grey. Oh no, and then of course we can't forget about Rogue. She's back there too, as well as Death's Head, right? That's what it was, Death's Head. I know sometimes he's either like against the X-Men or like against the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I know there's that whole thing going on. We got Cable. No, not Cable. I'm so stupid. Colossus. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? That's the second time I've done that. That's not the first time I mistook an X-Men member. I am so sorry, you guys. Okay, no, so that's supposed to be, yeah, Colossus from the Age of Apocalypse storyline. Damn, okay. I'm upset with myself. Why would I do that? I mean, when you have a huge variety of characters, you're gonna make a mistake, alright? And then, of course, you got, Gambit, Nightcrawler, of course, based off of the X-Men 97 series. And then, of course, we got the only beast I have in my collection. Disappointing, I know. But you know what? I'll say one thing for sure. As much as the older Marvel Legends figures didn't really age too well, I do like to put some of the older figures up in the front, because obviously most of the stuff that you're seeing here are kind of recent, you know what I mean? These are figures that are only really a couple of years old, so it'd be nice to have one that's like from like 2008, you know what I mean? So I couldn't really help but like put him in the front, and I actually do like him a lot, actually, the way he is, despite having weird articulation. Of course, we got Angel, and he's just there in the back with Chode. I don't like to put him in the back, but his big ass wings, I don't really have a choice. And of course, unfortunately, I'm disappointed to say this is the only Deadpools that I have in the collection. Lady Deadpool and Pirate Deadpool, as well as Headpool. Oh man, trying to find those new Deadpool figures, when some of the new ones come out later on during the year, oh, that's gonna be a bitch. Speaking of, look at Storm. The only 2 Storms I have, they look very, very cool. Then of course you got freaking Chamber. I know, honestly, a lot of people call it a bad figure. I like it, but what hurts it obviously is the legs. Like that looks terrible. They really should have given like sculpted legs or something, but everything else is fine. This is a man whose only existence is that he's constantly like on fire in his mouth, like for real. And unfortunately, I don't really got a lot of bad guys. I got Bonebreaker, Sabretooth, Sugar Man, you got Toe, Tom Black, Spyro, you got it all, pretty much. Of course, Apocalypse back there too. So that's pretty much the only like X-Men bad guys I have. I don't really have a whole lot. I got mostly like the good guys, I'm also aware not every X-Men member is going to be a good guy, so I know there's some bad ones here and there, but you get the idea of how it's sort of set up. I try to put it like that, even if it's not entirely perfect, because that's what I do with the Spider-Man collection. I put the good guys next to each other and then the bad guys, but sometimes that's pretty hard, Especially with Magneto. Yes, I'm aware that this is supposed to be like the good one, but he's the closest to having that classic look, so I have no choice but to sort of put him in the front. So I hope you guys don't really mind that. And then of course we got good old Cap, because why not? I'm so upset. I reviewed this figure and literally sometime after, the clip piece broke off, so now he's permanently forever just gonna have that on his back. I am so sad, especially considering that that's a classic figure that came out like 2013. Like, are you kidding me? Everything else is fine though, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some better figures. Yeah, I mean, that looks great. The zombie one looks fantastic, honestly. I wish they would make more figures just like this, but with the massive success of Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as their new figures, hey, you never know, they might make more. Like more horror or darker themed figures. I mean, they already have. Have you seen their recent Blackout wave? Oh my goodness, I love those. Especially, like, damn, like, it's very Ghost Rider oriented, basically. And then, of course, you got El Hydra. We got ourselves a movie Red Skull, classic Red Skull. We even got this Hydra figure, but that's like the classic, like, 2008 one. I think that was the year that it came out, I'm not too sure. You could kind of tell, like, style wise, but they look cool. It actually aged pretty well with how the others look. The only problem, he can't only really hold like the handgun, because the way that his arms are positioned, he can't really put both of his hands on the assault rifle, but it is what it is. Of course, you got more baddies. You got Boron Zimmel, and then of course there's Armadillo Man, right? So you're probably wondering, why is he over here instead of like with the Spider-Man guys, and the reason why, it's because I don't know, it's one of those things where he mostly fight Captain America, but he also fights Spider-Man from time to time, so that's why he's not really up here. But look at the amount of Spider-Man that we have. Honestly, as you can see from the whole collection, it's like almost equal to the amount. I got like just as many X-Men figures as well as just as many Spider-Man figures. Although, unfortunately, though, I think I got more X-Men than Spider-Man, but you get the idea. It kind of gives you an idea as to who's my favorite for sure. I mean, Spider-Man's #1 for me. Like, I'm sorry. Look at that Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man all up in the front. A lot of people calling it trash. Like, are you kidding me? This is, like, honestly one of my favorite figures of the whole lineup. I mean, it looks great. And that's another thing, too. I understand, like, people said that it doesn't really look accurate. But that's probably because they're basing it off, like, the recent movie with, like, No Way Home. Mostly because, yeah, not only was the original suit kind of sort of destroyed, they have to make a whole new one entirely. Obviously, his physique is not going to be the same. We got to understand that. Our heroes grow old. Speaking of old, look at poor old Cyborg Spider-Man with his arm. I mean, this looks cool. Even though he does have the... What was his name? Sunfire? I think his name was Sunfire. I don't remember. The body mold, right? I'm not too much of a big fan of it, but kind of works with that figure. And then we got Gwen and Miles. Just because, you kind of have to, And then, of course, we got Spider-Punk. You know, and of course, ooh, Cyborg Spider-Woman. So ginormously huge. You can't even see her. You know, you can see that gap. But that's about it. And goes Tarantula. Ooh. You know, the one with the blue head in the back. Kind of ironic considering that later on in the comics he would actually turn into a real tarantula. Like, for real, he actually mutates. Look it up. So we got some more. There's like so much to really go over, but you know who I really want to talk about? This gorgeous Doc Ock. I mean, you guys know how excited I was when I found it. I'm pretty sure I did a toy hunt of that, right? I'm pretty sure. Go into my playlist, please. Like and subscribe, and you'll see. Because we got, like, a lot. Oh, my goodness. Actually, hold on one second. Hold on. Yeah, sorry. I had to kind of cut just a little bit, you know, only because, you know, storage-wise and stuff. I had to kind of edit all this after, you know, like, put in some music, too. But yeah, you get the idea. This is where we now go on to the bad guys. Unfortunately, it's the same thing. I don't really have a lot of evil Spider-Man villains, you know. You'll notice how I have Hobgoblin but no Green Goblin. But we have Jack-o'-lantern. You know, I've been trying to get the one from the Absorbing Man way for a while, but it's like the prices, they just go up and down, you know. But let me talk a little bit about like Venom, because this is where I keep all like the symbiotes typo characters. I'm just messing up my words at this point, but you get the idea. That's where I kind of keep all of them down here. You know, of course we got Ghost Spider. You know, we got the black suited Spider-Man, who's really tiny, but it kind of makes sense. You know, Peter, he's supposed to be either you know, there's always the two interpretations of Spider-Man. Either the young one when he first gets his powers, or the more adult-oriented one where he's all grown up. Actually, the very first Spider-Man figure I ever got was this one. This one right here. That's actually the very first one. Very flattering, too, because I think this was when I was getting into Marvel Legends, too. I didn't really have too many figures at the time. Very fantastic, though. I love that a lot. You know, Mr. Negative, we got Scorpion, who's doing something kind of weird with his legs there. Don't mind that. That's not supposed to happen. That I'm gonna have to fix. Sandman, he just want to growl. You know, he's like, look at him. I feel bad. A lot of people consider this a bad figure, but like, he was kind of like that through a majority of the film, so it's like, it's hard to argue against it. I guess if he came with more pieces, maybe it would have been okay, but I think he's fine. That freaking Morlun and back right there, you know, and then that's about it, really, you know. I mean, I can't really go over every single character, but this is fire. Like, I love that. Speaking of fire, Molten Man. Anyway, let's move on to Doctor Strange, right? Because this one is a bit of a mix. It's like, it's Doctor Strange, but some of it really isn't, because then you got like Hood, and then you got like random like, I mean, Dormammu, it makes sense, you know, with Doctor Strange, but Sleepwalker, he's kind of a weird one. I mean, I love the figure, I actually do, despite the reuse of the body mold, but he looks pretty unique, so I can't really get upset about that. The Hood, on the other hand, his cape was so long. This man is on his tippy toes. That's absurd. And then of course, you know, we got some of the figures from the, you know, Multiverse of Madness film. You know, we got Scarlet Witch just raising the book like that. Unfortunately, from here on out, it's mostly random. Like, I don't have a lot of Daredevil guys. I really don't. So that's why they're kind of here, just randomly. You got Blade, and then Daredevil, Electro right there. That's about it, really, though, for Daredevil. I don't really got much. So now we move on to the last portion of the video, because I know this kind of gone long enough. Black Panther. Yeah. I mean, this looks pretty solid, don't get me wrong. I love the classic looks of him, though. Like, this looks phenomenal. This looks great. And then, of course, you got the Star-Lord, Black Panther right there, T'Challa. You know, you got his sister right there too. We got the, you know, the MCU Black Panther right there. That's pretty much what the good portion of these figures are. They're just mostly the MCU Black Panther figures. I don't really got any of the ones from like the comic books, with the exception of that. And of course, there's the Zaz, the white one. You get the idea. Guardians of the Galaxy. Just because. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. So pretty much the rest of them from here, it's just mostly random. Like, you got, you know, not much. You got the Marvels, which I know are, depending on who you ask, not entirely the best set of heroes, but they're interesting enough. I mean, I do like the cat though. I like that nasty like tentacle aspect they got going on. Ooh, ooh. I mean, there's a lot going on here. Mostly a lot of Marvel dudes and all that. And we even got Marvel Boy. Anyone remember Marvel Boy? I sure don't. Anyway, let's move on. We got Hawkeye on his Sky Cycle. This I like a lot. I like how he is also kind of sort of the only figure in the lineup with a vehicle, and that's obviously not counting Bonebreaker because he's basically a human tank, or half and half. You get the idea. There's a name for that. You know, basically those weird mutants, but like they're cybernetic. They're not like Cable, you know, they're kind of different, but you get the idea. You know, it's complicated. And of course, obviously, that's not counting the gliders, but you know, obviously, this is supposed to be a kind of callback to the old like Sky Cycle that they actually did make based off of their Legendary Riders lineup. Worst set of figures, by the way. Those old toys, they were just whack. Like, such a weird idea, but for Hawkeye, it makes sense. Like, this is honestly really perfect. Like, I do like this. Plus, you do get a classic comic book Hawkeye, so you got that. So, like I say, there's no proper order from here on out. Everything else is just kind of random. It's no longer really like in a specific order. You know, you got your Shang-Chi's, you got the Moon Knights, for Christar, you got Black Widow, Ant-Man, and then of course, oh, look at that. You got some, you're probably wondering, why is Godzilla back there? I was just too lazy to move them. I'm just gonna be honest here. Obviously, these guys, they're supposed to be down here with Iron Man. I was gonna say Captain America. Wow. They're supposed to be with the Iron Man guys because they're technically Iron Man villains. But because I bought those figures recently, you know, weeks ago or months ago or whatever, obviously they're kind of up there. That kind of shows you how lazy I am at fixing all this. But yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, there isn't really too much to kind of cover. From here on out, it's just Ultraman and Godzilla stuff. Those are all the other figures that I got, really. Of course, even though it looks like I don't got no more room, am I really gonna stop collecting these? No. I'm not an idiot. I ain't doing that. My poor G.I. Joes are a little bit messed up, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's about it, really. So thank you guys for kind of joining in on this. I know this was sort of a kind of weird video. Mostly because I know this was sort of last minute, but I've been wanting to do this update for a long time. Because obviously my collection is huge. And I can't go over every single thing. Can't talk about every single figure. But I'm happy with what I got. I'm definitely going to make more videos like these in the future. Hopefully I'll get to the G.I. Joe stuff. But let's wait till after I fix it. There's a lot of stuff I need to do. And I got a lot of ideas. Unfortunately, my next video might be a rant video. So until then, see you guys next time. So peace out.